In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw this Williams Formula One race car. If you enjoy this, please like and subscribe. Okay, this is the drawing we're going to be doing. I've seen this photograph. This is Nelson Piquet in his Williams back in the day. Really cool shot. I like how tight it is, and I just had to draw this thing. So we will start in Illustrator and then bring it into Photoshop, and I'll show you step by step how to draw this. Okay, here we are in Adobe Illustrator. After I'd found the photograph that I liked, decided I want to make a drawing of, went ahead and brought that into Illustrator and then just used it as a guide. Grabbed my pen tool and just copied what I saw. Didn't change really anything. His helmet is exact, and just kind of followed all these body panels. I had to kind of interpret some of what was going on in here and a little bit on the wheels, but this is what I came up with for line work. The only other thing I did was on a separate layer was copied his helmet visor and this little windshield, this little windscreen in here, made a separate layer of that that I can bring in later in detail on top of the helmet in the car. And it hardly shows up, but you can see it. There's like I made it like a light blue version of that sitting on top. But that's it for line work. Okay, let's bring that into Photoshop and we will build this little rendering in layers. Okay, we have our line work here in Photoshop. And to start with, let's go ahead and make 4 copies of this line work. So on the right, go ahead and drag it down and let's make 4 duplicate layers. All right, on that bottom one, we're going to do a white fill to start with. Because we're going to use a lot of this white as a background for what we're doing. And to make sure that we have a good solid fill for everything, I'm putting a temporary green background in the behind it, just to make sure we don't have any gaps in here. Because otherwise you go to the trouble of shading everything with all your color and you miss something, some little piece. And your background you create shows through and it messes up your drawing. So that's the purpose I do this green background as a temporary. Okay, now that I can see that we have all these white fills in here, we're good to go. I can get rid of this background. All right, we're going to open up the next line layer and we're going to put in all of our base colors. Okay, we're going to grab our paint bucket tool and just start dropping in all of our base colors. This warm medium gray for the tires, this kind of gold for the inside of this wheel in here, and just these basic graphic colors. Looking at your drawing, deciding where everything ought to go. It's basically a white car with this blue and gold trim on it, but just look at your drawing and drop in these cool colors. Okay, same on his helmet, base colors. The only shading I did at all to start with on this was just a little bit on this headstock, this Nomex Balaclava in here. Went ahead and just put in this color and just did a little bit of shading in there to start with to give it some shape. All right. So open up your next line layer and we're going to start doing some shading. And that's when your drawing starts to take shape. Okay, little by little we will select with the magic wand tool these sections and start brushing in these details. Again, looking at your photograph as your reference, you would select this section right here. Remember, here's our base color, and just start brushing in these lighter blues in here. This color up here for shadows. Same with the back here. There's not much going on here. There's a little bit of shadow down below on this yellow, but I brushed in a little bit of highlight there. See that? There's not a lot going on. Each panel, this lower part of this side pod, same thing. Just kind of darken that up, creating this highlight with what we left here in the top. Okay, and then same with this helmet. See, we kind of start tricking this thing out a little bit. Again, selecting these red panels in here, and then with your black, just kind of start shading in there. All right, and look at the shadows we've created on his face in here. Selecting these areas and just start brushing in those shadows. Same with the wheels, just patiently, one section at a time, grabbing that Again, selecting this section, brushing in our black in here, a little bit of highlight. Same thing here, selecting here and just brushing in our black. This wheel's really dark inside. But these tires have all these separate panels in here, these grooves in here, even though they're all one tire and they all blend together. It's just a good way to illustrate this, just kind of work this thing up section by section. Okay, creating our shadows on this mirror and darken this up in here just to create some dimension for his cockpit. Okay, open up your next line layer, and we're going to add some more shading and some more highlights to make this thing pop a little bit. Okay, again, selecting this area in here with that magic wand tool, and then getting in here and brushing those shadows, and just keep working that till you get what you want. See what that does? It kind of helps create the illusion of this shape in here. And same thing with the shadow behind this front tire. It's just kind of cool. And look how much black I put in here. This is going to be pretty dark in here, and it was on the photograph too, so I just blasted that with some black. And same with some of the details on his helmet, some of that trim. Okay, on that last line layer, we're going to go ahead and open that up and do the last of our shading and some highlights and just those details that make your drawing come alive. All right, inside this side pod in here, I went ahead and darkened that up, which is pretty much what that drawing looked like. Put in the shadow for this side mirror, those details, and a little bit of shadow underneath this windshield, because even though that's clear, it is the edge of that will create a little bit of a shadow. All right. Okay, on the next layer, I'm going to drop in all of the logos on the car and on his helmet. For sake of this tutorial, I went ahead and put these on one layer just to bring these in. Okay, and that really legitimizes your drawing that this is Nelson's F1 car. Now, you remember that separate layer that I had for this little windshield and this helmet visor? Let me show you what that did, bringing that in and treating that with some shadows. I did this real light blue shading in here. It just created what would be highlights on this visor and on this windshield. Look what that did. It's really cool. It kind of helps sell the fact that it's sitting on top of the helmet and all this stuff is in the background. It lightens up these shadows, but it makes it a little more realistic. Same with that little windshield. Okay. Well, there is the basic car with the exception of a few little top highlights. This is what I did on that. Basically on the wheel and on his helmet in a few little places, little hot spots on the mirror and a couple things. But those are the details that just make this thing pop and make it look pretty darn realistic. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is put in a cool background. Now, looking at this photograph, this is a speed shot and everything was streaking by. You can't identify anything, but there's a lot going on, you can tell. So what I did was put in this background. So I put in this kind of asphalt looking base, and I took some black, backed the opacity off, and with my shift key pressed, just did some streaks in here to create the ground zooming by. Same with up here. The base color I did was this kind of weird green color in here. But I chose some black with the shift key, just done some black streaks in here, this kind of rust color, and just built this thing little by little. And even some white in here that ran out, because there's some things going on back here. I don't know what they are, but they're going by fast for this guy. All right, well, there is a little tutorial on how to draw this Formula One Williams race car. Well, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful in any way, please check out our other videos available on Rendering Insights.